What's your style? I don't mean your fashion style, I mean your learning style. Do you know what type of learner you are? As an adult learner, it's important to understand how you learn best. In this section, we'll explore learning styles and provide you with strategies to help you maximize your learning potential. If you prefer pictures, charts, diagrams, or graphs, you're a visual learner. If you prefer hearing information, you're an oral or auditory learner. Do you choose to read or write about information? Then you're a reading-writing learner. If you prefer hands-on activities, movement, this means you are a kinesthetic learner. Understanding your learning style can help you maximize your learning potential and minimize the time it takes to learn new things. When you know your learning style, you can tailor your study habits to fit how you learn best. This can help you retain information better and boost your study performance. So, learn your learning style. So that summarizes the last topic that we're going to chat about now, our learning styles. I can imagine that just by listening to that insert, people will realize, oh, I think I have this learning style or that learning style. When I went to my classroom as an adult learner and I saw people seated and doing different things, one person was listening to the lecturer, another person was writing furiously, another person came with stickers and post-its and all the different colored pens. I could sort of sense, oh, so this person learns in this way and that person likes to listen and absorb, etc. So Thandeka, what are some important things we should understand about our learning styles?
Exactly what you mentioned, that no two person or three people are the same when it comes to learning styles. But also no one person is one learning style dependent. I think I might be someone who enjoys mathematics and I can just listen to mathematics, but when it comes to geography or another topic area, I might require a lot of handwritten notes to make sure that I understand the concepts. So what I think people need to realize about learning styles is that they can be organic and different for every single person and for them as themselves an individual. Some people visualize as a learning style, so they might use both mind maps and flashcards to assist them with learning and improving on their knowledge of the content, to prepare them whether it's an exam or just a test or an assignment or just to deliver content in the classroom. So I think that is one takeaway message that I have, is that we shouldn't restrict ourselves in learning styles, and as we grow we also learn new learning styles, and I think that's what helps us in our learning journey as well, to accommodate these differences that we learn.
So we could have more than one learning style, each one of us. And Melissa, is it correct that learning styles do not have a link to how intelligent we are or how well we're going to pass? It's just the way we prefer to learn. Can you help us understand sort of the differences between the different types of learning styles?
Sure, Seema. So, for instance, I tend towards a more visual learning style. So I enjoy watching videos when I learn. I enjoy other kind of visual educational materials like that. It is advised that visual learners try to learn in a quiet, well-lit area. If you have access to a whiteboard, I love whiteboarding, or even a chalkboard if that's what's available. For instance, I make myself posters. I get these massive flip chart pages and lots of colorful cookies. So, it's important to know in which way you respond to learning best. So, for instance, visual learners, we have many strengths and weaknesses to our learning style. So, for instance, it's easier for us to kind of visualize concepts, when it comes to charts and graphs and things like this, it's easier for us to understand those. But we don't do terribly well in like a lecture type format where someone's just speaking for the entire time, or just kind of written text based. So it's important then in that case to make your own visual learning material. So to translate that, maybe record the lecture and then listen to it again and translate it into tools that can work for you. Draw pictures, make symbols, use colors, color code things, just to make sure that whatever way you are receiving the information, that it ends up being engaged with and digested in your own way.
Mind maps are an excellent tool to do that. There are lots of useful YouTube clips on how to do mind maps, but for visual learners, and I count myself as one similar to you, mind maps just contain a wealth of the information in a way that you can glance at it, and there's symbols that you can incorporate. So I think this is also linking to our previous segment where we talked about you can adapt with how the material has been presented to you to your learning style when you are engaging in an active learning process. So what advice would you have, Thandeka, for an auditory learner? I think I might be visual and slightly auditory.
Thanks for that question, Seema. I think I'll pass it on to Melissa, who's got more experience with the auditory learner.
Yes, so auditory learners enjoy things like group discussions, group activities where you can discuss what you've just learned. Things like learning from podcasts or audiobooks, these kinds of tools. Just more comfortable in an environment where you're hearing the information, have far better memory when it comes to things that you've heard. You know, these people who go, last week Thursday you said, that's the sort of person who might be an auditory learner. So for such people, you know, my tips would be to once again record your lecture, maybe set up a study groups type of situation where you can have those discussions, maybe even read your notes out to yourself so you can hear yourself saying the course content, and that might help it stick a little bit more in your head as well.
Absolutely, Marissa is so correct about that, but there's also those kids who prefer not to even learn through hearing, you know, would want to put on headphones and it could be complete silence. Even as an adult, you know, sometimes you want that focus time to be zoned in mentally. But you might want to do a walk whilst you're doing that, you know, be in nature with those headphones and just think things through, step things through, create a more outdoor encounter with what you are learning so that you can just relate to it a little bit more. And we cannot forget about the kinesthetic learners who also learn through a lot of engagement being outside, you know, a lot of activities, movement. For them, that's how they learn and how they picture themselves moving from the different concepts so that they can understand a little bit better. So I think we take away from this that it's not a set premise on how to learn or how to understand to learn, and be it a learner or an adult, that we can all evolve into different styles for ourselves that work. And over time, we improve those little styles for ourselves so that we can also put ourselves in a better position for understanding all the work that we need to assimilate.
Definitely, definitely. I've seen that, and listening to you too has also just reinforced that in my mind. I know kinesthetic learners like doing things, so they're the learners who are happiest when there's an experiment and they're in a laboratory setting, or they get to use their hands to put a model together. I've also heard about reading and writing learners, and reading and writing learners are those learners who you'll see taking copious amounts of notes. But I'm very glad for our ECD audience today that the content that they're going to be learning is presented in a video format, because it's a bit of everything. They get to see, they get to hear the information. The information is presented visually as well. And for the reading and writing learners, there is a manual that's going to be available. Apart from that, because by its very nature, you know, the ECD assistant or teacher, everything is happening practically in the classroom. So for those ECD assistants and teachers who are kinesthetic learners, they're going to have an opportunity the very next day to go and do and try what they've learned. So again, I must thank you. We're so appreciative to have you here to share this with us, especially being in a particular space for our ECD teachers and assistants. They're going to benefit greatly from your study skills advice. We wish them all the best in their journey, and thank you. We will see you on the other side of the completion of your course, and all the best.